I appreciate you.
Holy shit, Danny.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new era of the Gym Pack Zone, where it's me, TN James. That was awful, but I'm going to work on it. I'm here to talk to you about the new era of TNA wrestling that started this last weekend at Hard to Kill. Guys, that pay-per-view was a great start into what they are trying to establish with this new era of TNA. The production is better. The effort is there. The talent is bringing it just as they always have. And I am very excited to say that this first episode of Impact in this new era continued the train of excellence. I just wanted to say, Danny, thank you. I hope you can hear me. Dragoon, TN James nickname, running mild. Yep, not my best, but if you could come up with something better, I'll take it. So just to start off, I think I need to remind you guys what TNA stands for. TNA stands for total nonstop action, and they brought the action in this first match of the night, reminding us all who they are and what they are. And that was in an X Division match that saw Jake Something, Kushida, Trey Miguel, Laredo Kid, Speedball Mike Bailey, and El Hijo del Vikingo in an epic first fall match that I couldn't breathe while watching. I kept trying to take notes. I kept trying to take down what was happening, and all I could say was action, 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 action. This is what TNA is all about. This is the identity that TNA established for itself in the early 2000s and what they were looking to bring back with this new era. And man, did they deliver. I know you have a lot of familiar X Division names in there, like Trey Miguel, former X Division champion, Kushida, Laredo Kid, Speedball Mike Bailey, another former X Division champion, El Hijo del Vikingo, who is known for his high-flying antics. And then you have somebody like Jake Something, who isn't quite what you would imagine when you think of the X Division, but that's why I loved his inclusion here. The X Division is not the cruiserweight division. It is not just for small guys. It is not just for fast-paced guys, which admittedly Jake Something is considering his size. It's anybody. It is no restrictions, just wall-to-wall, bell-to-bell action. And somebody like Jake Something is more than capable of bringing that in these types of matches. And he did here, getting the win, getting the pin with a beautiful something into the void onto Laredo Kid to get the 1-2-3. Guys, go watch this. There was unbelievable high flying. There was unbelievable pace. The type of thing that when you see it on another show, it's just, wow, that was the high point of the show when they are just starting us off with this in TNA. Every match tonight really did deliver in terms of action. Every match really did deliver in terms of pace. But man, they set the pace with this match tonight. Epic showing from every man involved. Lots of different styles. You have Kushida, who is a technical genius. You have El Hijo del Vikingo, who is a high-flying extraordinaire. And you have somebody like Jake Something, who is a brick blank house, who is going to bring the pain. Epic match, and I'm very interested to see if Jake Something is going to make a push for the X Division title and what that belt might look around his waist and how he would have a great match with Chris Sabin. We then moved to a backstage segment. Oh, can't ignore this. JMA really ain't no winners. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Gym Packed, I struck gold. I recognize that. I don't think I'm going to find that level of success with TNA James or TN James, but it's something. It's something. As you can see from this shirt, TN Bay, Chris Bay was able to make something out of it. I don't have that quite ring to it. By the way, this shirt, 1 of 8. This shirt did not hit the printer. Chris Bay himself delivering this to me at a recent House of Glory show. So quite the collector's item. Very much looking forward to seeing the ABC back on TNA television very soon. But moving on, we had a backstage segment where Will Ospreay was getting interviewed by Mean Gia Miller herself, cutting a promo on Josh Alexander. How the last time they faced off, Ospreay left him laying. He was back now for 3 letters, TNA, and he was going to defeat Alexander once again in this new era. Great. No, TN Bay is also very corny, but it's fun. Glad you got a hold of it. You're corny. That was mean. I was excited about it. You didn't need a rain on my parade. I don't mute people here, but that hurt my feelings. Anyway, rude ass. They then aired a hype video for Ash by Elegance, formerly known as Dana Brooke in WWE. Look, Ash by Elegance is somebody I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see her get a second shot here in TNA. I know a lot of people right out the gate were comparing her new gimmick to Timeless Toni Storm in AEW. I don't necessarily think that's fair. Blonde women in high heels, glitzed and glammed, is not a very unique gimmick in its own right. I think there's a lot of room for both of these gimmicks to thrive and feel different. I know this is a gimmick that Dana Brooke was trying to get off the ground in WWE before she got released, and they never quite were able to get to it. So I hope she's able to materialize this the way she always envisioned. I'm hoping that this gives her the boost that she was never really able to get in WWE, and time will tell. Dana Brooke Dragoon says Dana Brooke was always decent in the ring. She should be able to perform well here. I agree. I think that Dana suffered so much from misuse in WWE. She got called up to the main roster way too early. She got called up before she was done developing in NXT. She got called into a position that she wasn't ready for. And then despite that, and trying to make the most of whatever situation she was in, initially being Charlotte Flair's lackey, and then Titus Worldwide, and then whatever else they had her doing, when it was clear she wasn't ready, they didn't send her back down. And I think that hurt her in the long run. We saw her develop. We saw her get better, but it was trial by fire, and not everybody is designed to improve that way. So I'm hoping that TNA, being the career rehabilitation center that it is able to do for her what WWE couldn't, and give her the confidence and give her the time to be the future champion I know she is trying to become. Doesn't help she never had a character. Exactly. That's why I'm so excited by this Ash by Elegance gimmick. I think it's something new. I think it's something fresh, even though, again, there will unfortunately be comparisons to Timeless Toni Storm. But have an open mind. TNA is very good at managing stuff like this. Hello, Eric. Anyway, moving on, we had a Giselle Shaw promo that she cut backstage where she hyped up her Ultimate X win that she got at Hard to Kill. She said that Jordynne Grace needs to watch out. This brought out Gail Kim, who tried to hug Shaw, but Shaw wasn't really feeling it. She did compliment her on doing it alone, doing it without the Shantaraj, but it didn't matter. Giselle brushed her off, and she walked away from Gail Kim. Very interested to see if there may be acknowledging the fact that she was able to do it alone, and maybe lead to a babyface turn for Giselle. Essentially, her entire Knockouts run, her entire Impact, now TNA run, she's been a heel. So I think the fans have noticed the improvements she's had. I think fans have noticed the hard work she's put in. I don't know if that character change is going to suit her yet. I think it might need some more time to cook, more time to develop, but time will tell. I don't know. All I know is I'm very excited to see Giselle Shaw taking off. She's put in a ton of hard work this last year with Impact, and I'm hoping the new era of TNA is going to bring a new era for Giselle. Moving on, we had our first Knockouts match of the night, possibly our only Knockouts match of the night, if I'm being honest. I got to double check. But we had Xia Brookside taking on Tasha Steelz. Brookside making her debut at Hard to Kill and looking very good in that debut match. Eric saying Toni Storm 2.0. I appreciate you paying attention to everything I said. Hopefully, that will something will have sunk in by the time you see her. But I have more faith in her to deliver and be more than just Tony Storm 2.0. Anyway, like I said, Brookside looking great in that debut match that also had Tasha Steelz in that Ultimate X match for the Knockouts number one contender spot. Brookside is a young talent with a lot of upside coming from NXT UK. She, never found her footing or was never really able to get over with the WWE audience who weren't that exposed to her. But I think TNA is going to be a great, great landing pad for her. Getting a great win over former Knockouts champion Tasha Steelz. This is a great way to build momentum for this young talent. It's a great way to show off her babyface side. And the crowd really does seem to take to her. So time will tell how long it's going to take. This Knockouts division is really heating up. I know there was some worry after losing Deonna Purrazzo and potentially losing Trinity, as it seems we are probably going to. But with these new additions of Ash by Elegance, Danny Luna becoming a bigger presence in the division, and now Brookside signing, good things coming for the Knockouts division, a freshness that, while not necessarily initially needed, very welcome. We then had a recap of the pre-show from Hard to Kill as AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar of Hit Row, having his interaction with Joe Hendry. If I had producer boy with me, he might have been able to Photoshop Hendry in, but it's okay. That was a very unfortunate encounter for Hendry, as AJ Francis did not take kindly to Joe Hendry's ribbing, but it's okay. We then go backstage as Hendry talked about what happened with Francis and then revealed that he did get a little bit of revenge as he took out AJ Francis's sidekick, DJ Woo Kid, keeping him in a garbage can and throwing his laptop at him. DJ Woo Kid is the babyface of AEW as he started to reveal the truth about what happened backstage at All In. So I'm very sad to see Joe Hendry taking this heel turn. All right, I'm kidding. He's not a heel here. Woo Kid is the heel here in TNA. But again, very grateful that man didn't have to sign an NDA. Okay, we got some comments here. Dragoon saying, calling Dana's new gimmick a Tony Storm 2.0 is calling Timeless Tony Storm a Lacey Evans knockoff. Vintage blonde woman. Very well put. Dragoon also saying, was wondering what happened to Zaya. Cool signing. TNA can make women wrestlers shine like no other. Absolutely. Well said, Dragoon. I completely agree. And Dragoon also saying Top Dollar equals Z's sleeping. Look, is he someone I'm excited to see? No, I'm not. But I wasn't excited to see Big Cass go to TNA. But then they turned him into a monster as W. Morrissey. And now he's killing it in AEW as an AEW tag team champion with Ricky Starks. TNA is career rehab. Even if you don't necessarily think there is value to the people they hire, they're able to find what makes them good. They're able to find what can make them shine. And they bring it out of them. So I never thought Steve Macklin, a forgotten son, the third member of Jackson Riker's team, would mean anything in TNA, yet he's killing it here. So is AJ Francis the top prospect? No, but that doesn't mean he can't get better. So I'm willing to give him the time, even if it's not something that seems all that appealing from the get-go. Eric in the comments saying Dragoon is fired for making good points. How do I still have a job? I always make good points. Dragoon saying his bald ass head shines. Jesus. Anyway, moving on. We had a tag team match as the Grizzled Young Vets, James Drake and Zach Gibson, took on Frankie Kazarian and Eric Young. This was a solid tag team match. I wasn't expecting much from it. I will admit, I'm not super familiar with the Grizzled Young Vets. They really started to make their name in an NXT that I wasn't really watching as much. I've always heard good things about them, and I was impressed with their showing at Hard to Kill. But this, to me, was my first real exposure to them, and I think they more than delivered. They come across as dangerous. They come across as aggressive, and very vicious. So I think TNA teams need that. We tend to see them be very high-flying. We tend to see them be vets of some sort. no pun intended, with the grizzled young vets here. But I think this really highlighted who they were. That said, as good as this match was, as good as it was that they got their first win here in TNA, because they did not win at Hard to Kill, this wasn't necessarily with the match, but with what happened after. As Kazarian, very upset at the miscommunication he had with Eric Young, kind of obliterated him after he had taken the loss, clotheslining him and then hitting him with I guess a buckshot. I'm a little surprised that they finally pulled the trigger on a Kazarian heel turn. This was something that I thought was going to happen a while ago while he was feuding with Eddie Edwards, but I guess they finally decided now was the time. Much needed, in my opinion, because a tag team with Eric Young is not going to do either of those veterans any favors, and I don't think that's why Kazarian came back to Impact or came back to TNA. He could have been coasting in AEW, just getting the occasional jobber match, the occasional squash match, some time on Rampage, but he wants to show people that he thinks he's still a big deal. And I know he's capable of delivering in a big match. So a singles run as a heel might be just what the doctor ordered. It might get him another title match in hopefully the not too distant future. Moving on, we had a promo of some sort. It was a restaurant spot as the System, led by the new TNA World Champion Moose, flanked by Eddie Edwards and his wife Alicia, and of course the most professional wrestler Brian Myers. This was a good segment where Moose was really getting into his title win, saying he doesn't want any goofy nicknames. He doesn't want to be anything other than the TNA World Champion. Good way to continue to establish what this new group is. We had seen Moose, we had seen Brian Myers interacting. I think Eddie Edwards is a great addition to this team, and it gives them a way of splitting Moose off from Myers and that tag team without splitting them up as a group. I think that's a great concept, and I'm looking forward to Moose as world champion. I don't think any talent in that company deserves it more based off of dedication to them. He has just signed the biggest contract in TNA history, and he is there for the long haul. So start off strong with a world title win. Dragoon asks, why is his name Moose? Why is your name Dragoon? Animals can exist. You don't really need a reason, Dragoon. A little weird. You can't just ask someone that. But anyway, we are now to our big debut, our big promo that we've been looking forward to, as Nic Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, makes his way down to the ring. The crowd was chanting Nick at him, and he said that it was going to take some time to get used to. He talks about being excited in TNA and that he's there to prove himself. He said he's accomplished a lot in the past, but for now, he's excited to accomplish things as Nic Nemeth. This brings out, I mentioned it before, but the Forgotten Son himself, Steve Macklin, he said that everything Nemeth said kind of, made him sound like a phony to him. I don't necessarily agree with Dragoon saying he isn't even Canadian. You don't need to be Canadian to be a Moose. You're kind of making some broad generalizations here. Some very unhealthy stereotypes are at play, and I think you need to look at yourself, dude. I love you, but this isn't okay. But as Macklin is calling him a phony and saying that Nemeth never took the top spot that he so wanted, he said that it won't matter what he's calling himself now, because soon fans will just be asking whatever happened to Dolph Ziggler. Great burn, in my opinion. Great burn. But Nemeth hits him, goes for a super kick, and then hits him with what was once known as the zigzag and is now known as the danger zone. I really enjoyed this segment. It established Nemeth in this new world. It establishes him as a guy and what his motivations are, that he's looking to establish himself. He is looking to establish who Nic Nemeth is and not the same old Dolph Ziggler. And I also love the name, Danger Zone. He seems perfect for the most wanted man now. We then go to a backstage segment as Jordan Grace was with Gia Miller and talked about winning the Knockouts Championship. This brought out Trinity, who said that up until that match, she was undefeated and that she is going to be getting her rematch against Jordan Grace, and it's happening next week on Impact. I love the first match. I thought the first match was absolutely incredible, and I think it's going to only continue with the sequel next week. I am expecting it to be Trinity's swan song. I am expecting her to leave after this match. And if it is, we already know it's going to be quite the way to go. Moving on, we had a very surprising squash match as Jay Vidal came out and talked about moving away from Las Vegas, where this episode of Impact was taped, and that this place is filthy. He said that no one could beat him, and that brings out the French-Canadian monster himself, PCO. This was a very quick match. PCO decimated Vidal, and I guess they just wanted to get Vidal on TV in his hometown. So good for Jay. Or, yeah, whatever. Good for PCO, too, I suppose. Good to always get a win, right? We then go to a backstage segment, something that is certainly going to entertain fans of New Japan. Oh, maybe not anymore. But Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin were backstage. Shelley talking about how at least one half of the Motor City Machine Guns had a good showing at Hard to Kill. But that's fine. What really matters is that next week they will be teaming with Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker himself. Okada then comes out saying that he is finally returning to TNA. Guys, we're going to have a lot to talk about with Okada moving up. I think we're actually going to have a video on it on the channel here. Yowza. Lots to talk about as Okada is officially leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. The Rainmaker, no more the ace of that company. Eric saying, Dragoon might as well go live with me right now. You could too, Eric. You're more than welcome to be producer boy for me. Moving on, we are finally at our main event. The rematch. The hotly anticipated rematch between Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay. I know, guys, I get very excited about wrestling. I know I get very excited about stuff that I enjoy, and I know that sometimes I can really hype things up. Maybe you guys might not agree with everything that I hype up, but it comes from a place of enjoyment. Whew. Did this match give me a case of the vapors? Because this was what pro wrestling is. This is what I watch TNA for. This is what I watch wrestling for. Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay had a hell of a first match a few months ago. A match that Will Ospreay got the win in. If that match was a wrestling match, this was a fight. This was a brutal match that had everything you want out of a main event from the talent caliber that is Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander. Alexander and Ospreay going through a table, that referee having the wherewithal to realize you do not stop a match like this because of a table spot. You let them fight. Josh Alexander bringing the heart and soul that TNA is known for, being the walking weapon that he is, having every element of his arsenal brought out to take on Will Ospreay, quite possibly the best wrestler in the world today. Between high-flying maneuvers, between counters, between ankle locks out of nowhere that would make Kurt Angle jealous. These two brought out the best in one another. I know 2024 is very early on. I know 2024, has to compete for match of the year. So far, the top contender being Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. But by God, I think these two have created a very strong contender for match of the year in 2024. Finally, the ending seeing Will Ospreay attempting a Styles clash only for Josh Alexander to counter it and hit it himself onto Will Ospreay, leading to a C4 spike. Guys, I shouldn't be saying this because I need your views, but please go watch that right now, even if that means you have to stop this episode, stop watching me, and go watch that episode of Impact. This main event was pure, total, nonstop action. Incredible showing from these guys. Josh Alexander getting his win back, proving why he is the heart and soul of this company. Eric, love you. Bye. Glad you're not glad you're leaving, but glad you were here. Dragoon, goodbye, Gym Pack Zone. Yeah, no, I get it. Go watch TNA somehow. But this was an epic, epic main event. The type of thing that I'm very much looking forward to going to watch a second time to catch all the little nuances because of how great it was. Epic showing from these two men who left it all in the ring and out of the ring. After the 1, 2, 3, and after Josh Alexander was crowned the winner of this match, that brought out TNA president Scott D'Amore. He came out and talked about how awesome it was, how awesome that match was, and that he watched Bruce Pritchard declare TNA as dead in the middle of the ring years ago, and that it was guys like Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay and Tasha Steelz and Jordan Grace and all the talent that kept it going. That, as he said, put their hand in the and grabbed the beating heart of TNA and kept pushing it to pump that blood throughout the company and to keep it alive. Very graphic, but very true. Scott D'Amore talks about Will Ospreay being a TNA kid and that Uncle Allen at home, meaning AJ Styles, if you guys weren't aware, would have loved that match. This was... See, I've been praising Scott D'Amore for some time. I've been talking about how much I love the heart he brings to the company, and I love him as an on-screen role, in his on-screen role. Guys, this was an amazing promo from Scott. This was an amazing entry of Impact in this new era of TNA. And if this is the type of energy, if this is the type of heart that they're going to bring week in, week out, pay-per-view after pay-per-view, Impact after Impact, TNA is a company to watch. I mean it. I know. Please hear me when I say I understand why you might have stopped watching TNA years ago. I understand why you might not have watched Impact years ago. I get it. But TNA in 2024 is firing on all cylinders. They have some of the best talent in the world. Their production level is higher than I think it's almost ever been. They are putting effort and they are putting love into it. And the people behind the scenes are people who care about this product. Go watch it. Go give it a chance. You're not going to be able to watch Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay anywhere else. You're not going to be able to watch talent like Speedball Mike Bailey anywhere else. You're not going to be able to watch talent like Jordan Grace anywhere else. This is the company to keep your eye on in 2024. If I'm AEW, if I'm WWE, I'm taking notes on how to be as consistent as TNA has been, and I'm sure TNA will continue to be. So, guys, I know that was very serious. That was total nonstop passion, I guess, and I'm sorry about it. Well, I guess not really. Sorry, not sorry. But I truly love this episode of TNA Impact, and I am very much looking forward to what is brought next week on the show. But yeah, guys, I'm James Gisanti, and this was Mark It Down. This was the Gym Pack Zone. I want to thank you guys again this last weekend who entered for the TNA autograph giveaway. It was incredibly successful for us here at the podcast, so much so that we have a few more giveaways lined up. So if you want in, we will be announcing them very soon, and I'm excited for you guys to take more of my stuff. But I hope you guys follow us here. If you like this video, please leave a like or subscribe. That would really mean so much to us here at the Mark It Down podcast. And yeah, please follow us on all our social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. If you can't watch my beautiful face, if you can't watch all of our beautiful faces, try to listen to us. Listen to our sultry voices on any audio platform that you listen to podcasts. But yeah, guys, I'm James Gisanti. This is the Gym Pack Zone. Maybe. I don't know for how much longer. We'll find out. But as always, thank you for being here. And as always, watch TNA. Goodbye.